welcome one and welcome to you. How many we got out there? Nobody yet. That's okay. This is pre-recorded. You guys are just getting off the end of the day of the market. How did it go for you? Speaking of that, we have a newcomer today. Not really new, but you were expecting Taylor. Taylor had a situation pop up with her family. She's got to go take care of it. She's a good relative. But we've got that special guest back. I don't know if you like to be called BTCJ or just Jay. Hi,
Both
Jay.
work, dude. Hey, man, thanks for having me again on your show. Like, it's really a pleasure, dude. I enjoy looking at these OTC suggestions from the viewers. It gives me something completely different to chart, and I just love the process of charting. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to looking at some different things. I believe
We
last
appreciate.
time when we went on, we were looking at CGC, right?
Yes.
And I believe that that did have a move, then got sold off because, as you say, they just run, right? So we're not swinging this, but definitely you could get a very nice move out of that. And I did put that on my watch list on Webull and play it a little bit. So that was fun, dude.
Yeah, I did good on CGC. I got in at 58 cents. I got out at $1.77. She did hit $1.92, and I caught it on the way down, not on the way up. It's better if you
Yeah.
catch it on the way up.
Yeah. But still, you locked in profits very high there. So you realize,
Yeah.
okay, I'm up significantly. I'm not going to let that nuke to a dollar again on me, right?
Yeah, I sold enough to get some profit, get my investment, and I left a chunk of free shares there. And now I don't
Mm-hmm.
see any reason to cut the tree down. If I believe
Mm-hmm.
there is going to be a lot of growth in the cannabis industry. So I took my
Yeah,
gains right now, good timing, and I've left a shrub there. And I'll come back later on and see what's going on with it.
exactly. Yeah. Sounds like
So
a plan to me.
we appreciate you being here, Jay. I like your the way you chart. Every single person who comes on here charts differently, and I learn a lot from all of you. And I love impressing our charters when they come in because most of you don't trade OTC and penny stocks. The small caps, the penny stocks on the major exchanges, you guys will trade. I see a lot of activity on those over there because there's a lot of activity on these penny stocks right now. Speaking of, we've got a list of penny stocks and OTC stocks. Let me get my comments up here and thank all of you. We don't have a lot of people here yet, but we've got tickers waiting in line from Thomas Graves, Daniel Wernick, Belmore, yes, Chris Vaughn, Jeremy Horace. Jeremy, you brought us that biotech again. We'll look at it, but there's no new news, and you can see the chart. But we've got a different chart expert with us today, so we'll see what he thinks about it. So let's jump on into this right now. I have got one ticker that did not come from here; it came from Google, and I'm going to jump into that one first. So let me get onto my page. We are looking at Spire, ticker SPIR, Spire Global. It's pushing its way out of. What are you doing there, Jay? Sounds like you're typing with anger. We can hear you.
No, 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 no. I was DMing someone. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm gonna keep it
I
shut.
figured I'd tell you now before it's too far into the show. Um, she's at $4.36 right now. She did fall a little bit today, just a little over 1%. She's a penny stock on the major exchange, so you're going to be able to trade this for free. You can trade it pre-market, aftermarket. None of those things can you do with OTC stocks. So what is Spire about? Let's get a description first so we know who or what we're talking about. Spire is a global provider of space-based data, analytics, and space services, offering unique data sets and powerful insights about the Earth. Spire builds, owns, and operates a fully deployed satellite constellation that observes the Earth in real time using radio frequency technology. The data acquired by Spire satellites provide global weather intelligence, ship and plane movements, and spoofing and jamming detection to better predict how their patterns impact global security, business operations, and environment. They also offer space as a service for people who want to get out into space with their infrastructure. So, what was the relative volume around the company today? We'll start with the basics and then look at the catalysts. She did a little over double her normal volume, going from 101,000 to 237,000. Share structure for the company. Outstanding share count is all we get, 165 million. We won't ever float any higher. and it could be considerably less. Market cap is up there at 729 million. Financials for the company, we had 80 million at the end of 2022, which was virtually double 2021, which was virtually double 2020. So they're growing at leaps and bounds. Quarterly, they've been doing a roughly 20, 22, 24. They're growing about 2 million every quarter. So they've got some steady growth going on here. Just a quick look into the balance sheet. Money in the bank, they've got 43 million. Total assets, just a little over a quarter billion. And total liabilities, 174 million. So they're stronger in assets than their liabilities. They got a lot of money in the bank and they're making good money. Disclosures for the company. Oh, we've got some Form 4s here. I was unaware of these. Oh, these are good. Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders, the management, acquire or dispose of shares. And they can do that in a variety of ways. We're most interested when they buy them or sell them. Well, this is a purchase. This tells you over here who did it. Porteous William. He is a director. You can see that there. And in the center here, they tell you he acquired them. We see a price. You have to see a price if they paid for them. I told you they can get them in a lot of ways. And if they didn't pay for them, we're not really interested. Well, they just bought about 5,000 of the shares at 469. But we saw another two there. Quick dive into those. There's another one from the Chief Operating Officer, COO. He just bought himself 4.3 thousand. Oh, no. See right there. Okay, he did not buy these. Now you can come right down here and it'll tell you represents restricted stock. Right in this area, it'll tell you how they're doing this deal. So this is restricted stock, not stock we're interested in. One of them was a legitimate purchase, and this one is not. So we've had one legitimate purchase here and an 8K just a couple days ago. Material changes. Always poke your head into these. Check out that big bold sentence there. If it says material definitive agreement, stop, read it. Those are what you're looking for. What do we got here? A borrow, inspire, global, waiver. They've got some sort of agreement for money here. You see a lot of these, and they can be technical. There's a lot of information in these. So what did I find out that I could share with you? We already looked at all that. We looked at that. We looked at that. News. Spire's groundbreaking space-based solution will elevate aviation tracking. We haven't dove into this, but they're working with aviation tracking, which is obviously going to be a big thing when you got so many new things in space. Spiral Global Award, $2.8 million contract by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for Satellite Weather. So they got a nice contract there. But then they had a big piece of news that just came out today. The company's been selected for a multiple award, an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract by NASA to provide Earth observation data for the agency's commercial smallest data acquisition program. They've already got a constellation of satellites out there, folks. They're getting this data. Now they're just going to sell that data to NASA. The contract will be effective for 5 years with the opportunity to compete for a task orders under up to $476 million. Now, that's not all theirs, but they're going to get a portion of that money. They didn't tell us how much, but that's a prime catalyst here. I do believe I saw this stock running earlier. I see she's dropped a little more. She must be getting some aftermarket activity. Why don't you show us what's going on there, Jay?
Absolutely.
Do I have to change you over?
Yes, you can do that. Perfect. Let me go to the relevant chart here. Spur, right? Spire Global?
Yes. Yeah, and don't forget our volume. We like that volume. It gives us a floor.
Oh, absolutely.
I always feel like I'm floating in space without that volume. I just can't find the floor. Good. I like it.
I do agree with you here. So to me, what stands out is actually already the candle with that much volume. So on the weekly, something has happened here in June, right? So to me, I would be. So it was basically the weekly candle of June 20th. So June, like at the end of June 2023, just very recently. That was a crazy weekly candle, and let's check how much volume was on that candle. 4.456 million. So that is significantly higher than anything before that, right? The last time we got a relevant like volume candle was somewhere, and basically there is already something that we can spot here, right? When was the last time? End of June 2022, and here end of June 2023. So like just already looking at this, it's quite noteworthy to me. It's like 2 years in a row that at the end of June, right? It could be coincidence or it could not be, but
What
that
I
is definitely,
see here is at the
yeah.
end of June, there are a bunch of Form 4s, and everybody was given 250,000 shares. They didn't buy them,
Okay.
they were given them. So a whole bunch of shares were
Yeah.
given to the insiders.
Yeah, so that is kind of noteworthy, right? And so after last year, after that happened, we basically grinded down and we're downtrending. So we're not expecting this to reverse because it's still downtrending, making lower lows and lower highs. I would definitely look at this candle from June and mark out where that candle opened at 552. That is big resistance right now. If we can get back above that, then there could be maybe a longer term or a further sustained move up to maybe $8, right? I would then be looking at those two weekly levels. So basically, get above 5.5, run it to 7 and 8. But definitely, that is so the open of that weekly candle with a lot of volume. Where that candle opened, we basically wicked. This was something like a weird outlier, more wicks. So only wicks and no acceptance above it. So I think 5.5 is our wall to the upside. And short term, right? I would be looking at that weekly candle from a couple weeks back, right here in August. That weekly candle has a low at 434. So if we're gonna get below this wick this week and then get back above, so maybe we can go to a daily time frame, right? So we got below that, back above, and today we basically came down. So that is not very nice. Like if we're below 434, I wouldn't touch that long. I think she can definitely come down lower, maybe even fill the wick all the way down. So 434, and like after seeing what happened here today, I don't particularly find that something that I don't expect that tomorrow to do very well, right? So we're turning that 434 into resistance here. So I would be expecting more down. Maybe a suggestion would be to look at 379, the wick low of this candle, and then to that low. So maybe a bounce from 379 or 332. But definitely here short term, I don't like that at all. And bigger picture, 5.5 would be my resistance. If we can get back above that somewhere in time, whenever that is, then I think we got some upside to $7 and $8 potentially. Here, I would be waiting patiently at 379 and at 332. I would personally have trading view alerts. And if price taps that level, I would go and check on my chart what is happening here. Maybe I'm looking for a move below that level and then a 15-minute candle close back above the level. That to me would be a trigger to long with a stop loss under the low that is made below that support level and then targeting it back up. So it's important to know where to look and where you want to do your business. So for me, I wouldn't touch it until 379 or 332, and I'm clearly seeing support held at that level. So clearly, price goes below, gets back above, closes back above. That's my trigger to long, and then you go back up above 4.
I think the most important thing you said there was, I'm going to be patient and wait for this to do
Yeah.
that. And that's it. You've got to wait for it to get where you understand the chart, gets in a position where it makes sense to you. As you said, there's a lot of things there that don't make sense. They're weird. All right, we ready to move on to that next one?
Perfect.
Jump on over to HNRC. They had some information come out here recently, but everybody seems to still be very interested in one thing: the dividend shares for WDHI, World Diversified Holdings Incorporated. This has been a fiasco since last December. It was supposed to be a done deal, and then we discovered that the shares they were giving were unregistered and restricted. Why was that? Because they're not on the market. If I put in WDHI up here, you see that it does not come up. It won't come up until the registration is complete. Now, when we look at the news, you can see right down here, HNRC files registration statement for WDHI listing. That was back in June, end of June. Let's call it July. It really shouldn't take that long for a filing to be approved. unless there's something not right, something that they've got to work on. FINRA does get to this stuff in a pretty decent time period. So that's a long time to be waiting, but it's done. It's not like we can talk to HNRC and get them to do anything more. We have to be, here's that word again, patient. There's a lot of it on the market, I know. So once it is registered, once that is complete and approved, boom, you're going to see the ticker show up. When it shows up, your shares aren't restricted anymore. They're not unregistered anymore. At least I presume they won't be restricted. They'll be registered. Whether they unrestrict them or not, I don't know. I'm tired of second guessing HNRC. But let's focus on HNRC for a minute here. I'm not real crazy about the fact that some companies toot their own horns, but I got to tell you folks, in this market, we're overlooking a lot of companies. There are companies that are so undervalued right now, and we're just walking right on by them. Sales everywhere, and we're not buying nothing. HNRC appears to be one of those companies. Let's get some of the basic information for the company first. Relative volume fell today. She lost just a little over a third, dropping from 321,000 down to 198,000. Share structure for the company, 158 million outstanding. Tell us that the insiders, the management, they own 31 million. That leaves us a float of roughly 126 million, if those numbers are correct and accurate. Financials for the company. Let's see here. Well, they're growing fast from 3 million in 2019 to 9 to 18 to 20. They're doing really well. Quarterly, they're growing there too, not as fast, but I mean, they're hanging around and they're in the profits in case you didn't notice. There was no negative numbers there. Quick look at that balance sheet. Well, that's surprising. I am looking at the quarterly balance sheet here. Cash in the bank is only 14 grand. They've got net receivables of 1.7 million. That is due them. Total assets, about 50 million. Total liabilities, hardly nothing. Only 1 million to 50 million in assets. Disclosures for the company. Nothing for a while. No, nothing for a while. But I do have news here. Now, just headlining it so that you're caught up. They completed that acquisition of Cunningham Natural Resources, Cunningham Energy. And they're going to be changing their name to Cunningham Natural Resources. This was another energy company. It was a big deal, but nothing happened really after they closed the deal. Then the HNRC portfolio company announces updated and revised purchase agreement. Did I have this one up here? I think I do. There it is. HNR signed an amended and restated membership interest purchase agreement to purchase all of the equity interest of the New Mexico-based oil company and its subsidiaries for a purchase price of $63 million. Another one of those pieces of news that we can look at came out October 4th. Houston Natural Resources updates their shareholders. This is important to me. They do this a lot, but I do not see anything on the market taking heed to it. The appraised asset value is now $2.60 per share. 2023 pro forma earnings of 8 cents per share. And again, they tell us they have filed for the name change for the company, but it hasn't happened yet. I don't know why their paperwork takes so bloody long to get done. And the last piece of news, Cunningham Mines acquires gold mining property. It's a little confusing here. Houston Natural Resources, also known as Cunningham Natural Resources, has acquired an interest in Cunningham Mining. I don't know if they have any relation or not, with the potential to increase its position over time. The Nugget Trap Placer mine was tested in 1930s, but never commercially mined for gold or silver due to its remote location and commodity prices of the era. Now, this next part, I had to stop and read twice. A recent independent assay, which includes data from a 25 pit test program, indicated an average of 25.5 grams of gold per cubic meter. Folks, I do believe we're talking about 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. There's 25 grams of gold in that amount of dirt. That sounds pretty spectacular to me. So we have all that going on right now. there isn't anything going on with WDHI that we can see, but HNRC is continuing to move forward. She's buying more property. She's expanding herself. She's letting us know we're looking at our assets. This is what it's worth, folks. Why do you have our price down at 6 cents with 3% drop today when we're telling you we're worth over $2? So if you don't mind waiting around, this could be a good buy time. Be patient. Boy, that word's coming up a lot today. Honestly, not a couple months. Look, folks, we've got a couple years before we get out of all this stuff we're in. At least a couple years, and that's if nothing else pops up. Right? So if you were to buy it now and you have time on your side, this could be a very lucrative deal. Let's take a look at that chart now, Jay, for HNRC.
Yes, sir. I already put it here. So if you will switch us over, perfect. I believe this should be the chart, right? HNRC.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Well, I was already looking at this chart, and again, these weekly levels are very important. So I would be looking at well, for one, it's a downtrend, right? So from a purely technical perspective, we're making lower highs and lower lows. So if you ask me, what do you think about this? Well, to me, I think this goes lower. I think this goes lower, and I would give you some very specific levels where I personally would be interested to buy. So I'll just map out how I would do that.
Now, we're all adults here, Jay, so you don't have to be polite. You can tell us what you really think about this POS if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, the chart looks horrible. Like, we've put in a low in February, and that low is basically 0.062, so 6 cents, 62 cents. So from that point, yes, we had a very nice bounce. Let's see actually how much she bounced there. In total, 609%. So that is incredible, right? But that is over, and that basically was another lower high in the overarching downtrend. And now we're grinding back into this support. But if you take a look on this weekly candle, what is really happening? We found support on it for 1, 2, 3 weeks on that 0.062. And now this week we had a big wick and we're getting sold off. In my opinion, what I think is that I wouldn't touch it with like at all. And I would basically look to do this, to take a Fibonacci level from that low here in February. And I would take that all the way to the high in April. And I would make sure that my Fibonacci levels are based on a logarithmic scale, because if I don't do that, I might even get negative numbers. And that obviously that's not possible. But this way, on a log chart, I get 3 levels of interest here. So the 1272, the 1414, and the 1618 pips. So to me, once again, I would have a line right here, 0.0364. So literally like this. I would put a second line here at 0.0275. And then I would have a third line at 0.0184. Once again, I would personally have alerts there. So if price comes to one of those lines, which I suspect it will do because it's really looking very bad in my opinion, well, maybe if we can get above 7.3 again, 0.073, then it might look good in the short term for a little bit of upside. So I'll mark out 0.073. I would at least want to see it get above that level before I think there's potentially a little bit more in the tank, but I would definitely take my profits quickly in this downtrend, right? So basically 0.0364, 0.0275, and 0.0184 to me would be levels of interest where I could potentially long it if price comes to my level, taps my level, and then holds that level and closes above it, maybe with a 1 hour candlestick. Then on that 1 hour candlestick close back above that level, I'll go long and then trying to play it back up. But I think potentially, let's see how much of a drop that would be from where we're trading right now. That we're talking about a 42% nuke or a 56%.
That's not intriguing anybody. You know, us day traders, honestly, I'm trying to sell a long hold for HNRC because that's all she's worth right now. Nobody wants to get until those shares come out. That's my prediction. When WDHI gets on the market Then people will start showing love to this company. But everybody's pissed at them because they feel that they had the wool pulled over their eyes. 6 months later, we find out the shares are restricted. That wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
So, market sentiment, folks, I think that's really what we're talking about here. So, this chart is probably going to do just what Jay showed you. It's going to keep pushing down until WDHI comes on the market, regardless of how many deals they make. You can keep saying they're going to make lots and lots of money, but they're going under right now.
Yeah, for sure. This chart looks very bad.
And folks, I want my show to be exciting, and I'm not taking it out on you, but bring us some hot stocks. Looking at these stocks that are in serious downtrends, you see it's in a downtrend. That's not going to want anybody buying into it. Let's bring stocks that we all can make money on. This is what I do for you all week. I'm hoping that you guys are doing some due diligence. Even if you find a hot chart, just bring me the chart and we'll see what we can find on it. Let's make some
Yeah,
money.
I
All right,
agree.
I'm going to jump on over to the next one now. We are looking now at Better. This is ticker BTTR, Better Choice Company. She finished today at 20 cents. Woohoo! Better is up. Better is up 25.6% today on the New York Stock Exchange. She is a pet health and wellness company focused on providing pet products and services that help dogs and cats live healthier and happier, longer lives. And recently here, they have been getting into CBD. And I do believe that is part of the news right now. Came out on September 12th. They are looking at evaluating the marketability of their Bona Vita CBD branded treats. We can't put CBD in foods. You can put them in things that aren't considered food, but you can't put them in food, but you can put them in pet foods right now. And there are products out there on the markets, and this company is selling them online, but they're not selling them in markets yet, and they're evaluating that. And that's been September, October. We're coming up on a month right now. So, what sort of relative volume did this company have today? Must have had some. Oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Jay will like this chart more. We jumped from 1.6 million to 58 million shares today, folks. That's an increase in volume. Share structure for the company, not bad. Outstanding share count is only at 30 million. So you know our float is going to be less than that. That's a decent float. On the major exchanges, that's an excellent float. Financials for Better. Well, she's doing pretty good in revenues as well. She's been growing over the last 4 years, touching $54 million in 2022, taking gains of $15 million, all profits all those years. And she's hanging on. She's had better quarters, but she did 10.5 million this last quarter with 3.5 million profits. Balance sheet, 3.6 million in the bank, 30 million in assets, and only half of that in liabilities. They're in good shape financially. Disclosures for the company. We've got 1/8K here that's recent. This is, oh yeah, I've already got this pulled up. I did go through this. They got a notice from the New York Stock Exchange. They too have a minimum bid price requirement. I do believe it's $1. They didn't mention the price here, but that's what they've been caught at. They've been under $1 for too long or under the price minimum bid. But the good news is they've only been warned. They haven't even been given a time limit or anything. No immediate effect on the listing or the trading of the company stock. So we don't have to worry about it, but they're getting close to the edge. You do want to take concern with that. And I do believe that's all we really got going on here right now. Was there anything else in the news? That's from a couple years ago. And revenues, change of management. Carolina Martinez, permanent CFO. And that's it. So she's had a good day without any real catalysts here. They're looking at marketing their CBD pet treats. That was over a month ago. They brought that news out. And the only news we got out now is that they're near the edge, but they haven't fallen over yet. Let's take a look at the chart for BTTR.
Yes, sir. Got it pulled up. And I was looking at this on a daily time frame here just now, and I just marked out that dollar mark that you've mentioned because that is indeed a requirement, right? From what I understand, is that eventually they're going to have to get back above it, or it's going to be delisting.
Yes.
just zooming out on the weekly time frame, I truly believe that like it's not necessarily a good time to buy or to invest in this kind of stuff, but maybe we can get a nice trade out of it. But in the bigger picture, it's also just like a horrific downtrend. So I would also favor the bears, to be honest. However, right, we see something insane here with the volume like we've literally never seen before on BTTR. I would be taking a
Wow.
look here a little bit more zoomed in, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this big down candle, and more specifically at the daily candle before that. And I want to go ahead and mark out the low of that day before, and then basically the high of the day after. This is a little bit of a fair value gap, right? And that fair value gap you see here, little very low liquidity, low volume, and they go fill orders here and here, and now we got above it. So provided, right, provided that this thing is gonna hold 19 cents, I think there could be indeed another follow through to this. But if we get below 19 cents, basically from 19 to 16 cents, you're gonna experience very little support on the way down and very little resistance on the way up. So that is definitely a hole in volume there, kind of a gap, if you will. So
What
maybe
do
if we
you think,
zoom
Jay, about a potential cup and handle there?
exactly, I was also about
Oh,
to
sorry for
mention
treading
that.
on your toes.
No, absolutely not, absolutely not. You're absolutely right. And for that, let's see if I can get my curved here. Where do I get that again? I like to draw that pattern. Let's see, right here, curve. So this would then be the cup, right? I believe
Yeah.
could be something like this. And then the premise would be that it comes down. So maybe we can look at a bull flag formation on the lower time frames, and let's see if we're getting that here. Post market, I think it closed here at 21 cents, and after hours we're at 19.8. We'll have a look at how this opens tomorrow. I think it's a good one to look at basically for continuation. Let's maybe draw some kind of resistance here and play the breakout above that, but definitely make sure to have a stop in. And personally, for me, if I know that there's going to be very little support between 19 and 16 cents, I would probably go with a stop maybe at 18.8, 18.7,
Yeah.
because I'm not trying to hold it back down
No.
the whole gap. And if it then does not hold 16 cents before you know it, you bought something above 20 cents, and you literally become exit liquidity, right? You
Yep.
literally become the person who they sell high to. So to me, I would definitely cut that below, let's say 18.7, 18.8. But yeah, if it can maybe make a bull flag here tomorrow, look at it on a 1 hour time frame, and we break out, for sure it's going to get extremely spicy if we can get above this wick here, that 26.55. If we can establish above that, then I think this could be a situation where, yeah, halt, and we're at 70 cents and at 80 cents. That could be a very high potential here, but we will have to get above 26.5 and really push higher. But it could happen, definitely. This is a way,
I
like a
think
chart that
so.
I
I
would,
think there's a strong potential I
yeah.
mean, it's a 50-50 shot. It is in the game.
Yeah, yeah, it's fair enough to me. Like with the other tickers that we looked at, I would really say like, yeah, let it come down and play from a lower level. But here, I agree with you. Like that's a good chart, and I will keep it on my radar tomorrow.
Yeah, like he said, it's definitely not an investment right now. She's still coming down. You'll get a better price, I'm sure. But at this
Yeah,
current time, this is a tradable stock. She looks like she
yeah,
could give some gains. Put it on your watch list for tomorrow. Nice find there, Daniel. Thank you, my
yeah,
friend. All right.
absolutely.
We ready for the next one, Jay?
Yes, sir.
Belmore's brought us one. Belmore, I've got hope that she's got us a hot stock. She has brought us fours. All right, let's see. This is Fours Innovations. She's cheap. She's down there on the floor. Lowest you can get a stock on the open market is 0001. We're at 0004. Wow, look at that gain. 166% gain. Now, you got to remember, folks, if it was at 2 cents and went to 3 cents, that's 50%. If it goes to 4 cents, that's 100. So, gee whiz, this thing must have been at like 1.5. 0.00015. Just forget the zeros. You know what we're talking about. 1.5. So she is on the pink tier. She's current and she's got the transfer agent verified, but we don't have a verified profile. And that is validated information, folks. That's the only validated information you get with pinks. So don't overlook those. It's not a deal breaker if it's not there, but it is assurance if it is. They've also got independent directors. Only reason you list those here is if you're going to be uplisting. You've got to have independent directors to uplist, and they must be listed here when you're planning on doing it. So something's going on. So let's get some basic information about the company. Wow. I had to look at that twice. There's a huge jump there, folks, and 47 million is her rough average each day for the last 30 days. Not under the radar. But you got to remember, at these low prices, millions of shares sell real quick. To just give you an idea, 0001, you can buy 1 million shares for $100. So you can see why they're selling a lot, but look how many they sold today. 602 million shares moved today. That's a huge number considering that they did. Let me refresh this real quick. Up here, we're looking at the share volume. A good day considering the market we've been in for over a year, 4.5 billion shares. And she got over 500 million of them. Over 500 million. That is 1/9 of all the shares on the OTC market, 12,147 companies. And this one got 1/9 of all the shares. How can you overlook that? Checking out the share structure. Well, here's the other half of those shares. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Is that 100 billion or is that 100 trillion? I can't even read that number. I'm blurring out. We've got a ton of shares here, folks. It's I'm having a hard time reading that. That's millions, 1.8 billion, I think it is. And we got 1.5 billion in the float. Lots of shares. You don't want to hang around on this one very long because sooner or later they're going to do a reverse split and you're going to lose all those shares you thought you had. Total revenues, not making much. At the end of 2022, they did $25,000. Quarterly, well, they're increasing. They made $39,000 the first quarter of this year. And that is a concern. That means they're behind, but it isn't registered over here that they're behind. So I want to jump on over there right now and check out their financials. Yeah, see right there, MT10K. First off, the first thing I can say here is that they do have some validated information. That's a 10K. That is not a disclosure. 10Ks have to have CPAs look at them. So that's great. Problem is that says we're not filing our annual financial on time. And if I remember correctly, I think I said yesterday it was 10 days, but I think it's 15. It's not going to come up. All right. Thank you very much. Fifth calendar day. They get to buy themselves some time by just putting this in. They get themselves a few extra days. It's 10 or 15 days. I can't remember which, but then you've got to have it in. That's just the way it is. So this should be out any time now. It's been a week. So they've probably got 3 days to a week, and that should be out. Any other disclosures there? We do have an 8K. Let's take a quick look at that, see if that was anything. Changing the bylaws. It's important, but not as far as we're concerned right now. And the last thing I had found, yes, this is actually in a news press, I think. Navigating Challenges, Flores Innovations Inc. shares insights and debts and growth. We were just talking about this. The company had previously considered a reverse split as a potential solution, but after extensive research and understanding the implications and all the death threats, I'm kidding, the decision to do this is a no, a severe no. They're not going to move forward with the reverse split. It's in the filing, so that we can hold them to that. And this is some interesting information because there is no news over here. I couldn't find a lot of information. Our flagship warm-up product, once patented and FDA approved to treat chronic back pain, has the potential to revolutionize the market and usher in a new avenue for growth. Now, I don't know anything about this. They are waiting for the IP, the intellectual property patent, to be granted. They've already filed it. They're waiting for it. And I guess they've got some new product, a warm-up product that's good for chronic back pain, and they think it's revolutionary. Let me see. I don't think there was anything else we needed over here. How about them financials? We did look at those, and we did cover that. Yeah, I got a little confused there. So let's take a look at that chart for FORZ.
Yes.
There you go.
I got it up here on the daily time frame. Like, there is not that much to say about it, in my opinion. It's just been a very steady decline all the way from 2021 into 2023. I wouldn't get all too excited here. Like, it basically looks like a barcode, right?
Right.
Like a stable coin in crypto would just jump up and down, but it would like maintain its peg around $1. I don't really see this going very far. I think if you're gonna get into this at all, it's not based on technicals, and it's basically a gamble, and you might easily lose half of what you put in, because yeah, it's going to be very difficult also to get rid of your shares properly with things like this. So it's not as easy, I believe, as just buying at 0.0001 and selling at 0.0002, because you could technically do that all the time here. But um, you think you can do that all the time, but there's still the process of actually buying and selling those shares and getting your fills. So I would be extremely careful with this. I can't give you here a technical setup. I really think this is just it's basically a lottery ticket, right? And if you're fine with that, then there's no problem. I would definitely take my profits if this runs maybe where it made a wick high there, right? 0 point and then triple zero seven. That's a point here in February where we briefly spiked to and then rejected. So if it comes back there, you would definitely look to sell. But once again, the question is, how will your orders fill there, and will you be the first in line to sell your orders? Um, I very much doubt it, to be honest.
The only
So
positive thing I see on that chart, and it covers a long span, is that volume. Over the, oh geez,
yeah,
a year maybe, it's actually growing in volume, but the time between every spurt is just so long.
yeah, it's not sustained enough yet. Also here,
No.
if you look at the volume in September, well, September 25th, 26th, and 27th, the volume is significantly higher than before, yet price is not really doing anything crazy to the upside, right? And it's also declining here, and then it just maintains at the same price with no volume, and then has a crazy volume spike, and it's not really achieving that much yet. So maybe again, if you want to get in this, maybe play to 0007, 0006, and make sure to be lucky and get out. I
Yeah, the factor
I
is there are just
yeah,
so many shares that so many shares have to move
exactly.
before the price moves.
Yeah, if the volume can keep up, but I also don't think. Let's let's see. Like, anything is possible, right? So I may be wrong. If we can get above 0.07, well, 0007, then the next level would maybe be 001, right? And then
Oh,
the
that
top
would be nice. Yeah,
that
that's a
because
big hope.
those are definitely some moves, right? So from where we are trading here, that would be 150% possible. But if we do come down again, probably get out at 0002, or else they will get it back to here, and then wherever it wants to go.
Yeah, the only reassurance we got is that they told us they won't be doing a reverse split, which means you're going to have to deal. You need heavy volume for this stock to grow. It really needs, unless some big catalyst comes out and people are willing to pay more. Then you could see some bounces. I know that's what people look for out of those triple zeros. You can make some great
Yeah,
money, but your timing has to be perfect, or you've got to be very patient. That's just the way triple zero stocks are. Anything you can add to that? That's about all I see.
yeah, same here, to be honest.
Triple zeros normally don't offer a whole lot of conversation. All right, we've got another one here. This is BITF from Chris Vaughn. Do I have the actor in here today? Hey, buddy, love your movies. All right, we are taking a look at a Bitcoin mining company, as far as I can tell here. Do they actually tell us? No, they don't. So let's take a look at the relative volume. dropped a lot today, going from 6.5 million down to 2.7 million, like 60%. Share structure for the company. We don't know anything else but the outstanding share count, 219 million. Market cap, 217 million. That's because the price is virtually $1 right now. Remember, your market cap is nothing more than taking all the outstanding shares and multiplying it times the price. Just that simple. $1, and she was up almost 2% today. She is a penny stock on the NASDAQ. Financials for the company. All right. Now, I always find the financials interesting because Bitcoin mining companies aren't selling anything. It's not a service, it's not a product. They're just mining and they're accumulating their coins and stuffing them over in the corner. And when Bitcoin goes up, their mountain of coins just magically gets bigger. They become worth more. So when they have a lot of coins, as Bitcoin goes up, their company grows just because Bitcoin's growing. And of course, they're mining coins at the same time, getting more money. So at the end of 2022, they say they had 142 million. I don't know exactly how they're working out their profit. One hell of an electricity bill if that's all they got left is $10 million. Quarterly, we don't get to see anything here on the quarterly. Let's check out that balance sheet. Cash in the bank, 30 million. Money still owed to them, 12.8 million. Total current assets, 343 million. Total liabilities, 87 million. So they're doing pretty darn well. Disclosures. I think these all relate. I did. I looked at these. They actually related to the news. So we're going to jump over there. Now, they don't have a lot of news here. Most of this is Seeking Alpha articles that are just real blurbs. We've got Bitcoin is surging, as I told you, because Bitcoin is going up. A lot of your Bitcoin mining companies, a lot of your Bitcoin stocks are going up right now, including Riot, Hut 8, and Bitfarms. They tell us here in this news that in September, wow, are they kidding me? Bitfarm mines 411 Bitcoins in September. I don't keep up with crypto anymore. I was for a while, but I just stepped away from it. The last time I looked, it was 28, 30,000, something like that. What? 411 times 30,000? Jiminy Pete's, they're making money hand over fist. And then they've got a Dawson's James Small Cap Growth Conference. I don't quite know what they would do at a conference. I really don't. So they're making money. Bitcoin's going up. They're becoming more valuable. They're bringing in more coins that are more valuable. So the company is making money. That's all they do, though. And they don't have to have customer satisfaction or get any feedback or anything like that. So let's take, no, let's not rush here. Did we already look? Yeah, we did. All right, let's go take a look at BITF Bitfarms on the charts. You ready for me, Jay?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
This is by far the most interesting one to me, and I can already tell you that I've already put it on my watch list, and I'm going to be playing it, and I can explain how I will do it. To me, it very much reminds me of the chart called BTBT. It's basically the same thing, and those things, they have run very hard in 2023 as Bitcoin basically moved up from 15,000 at the end of last year to above 30 this year. The bigger money, like the more speculative play, is these very cheap stocks that are related with Bitcoin mining. Like BTBT went up 4, 5, 600% this year. It was incredible. So way more than Bitcoin itself. I think the moment that I think Bitcoin is coming down a little bit at this point, and I will explain the levels that I will get involved in this, because to me, I'm not exposed to this, and I definitely want to, because I believe that this has good potential to really, really, truly run to $5-10, and I will want to be in that from good levels. So, to me, I'm looking at this here on a daily time frame. I've marked out the low here in 2022 at 37.6. Then we've rallied to this level of resistance at 126, came down, made a low here at 68 cents, and then ran up and made a higher high. To me, I want to be playing here either it comes to 68 cents, gets below to get the stop losses out from people still with stops below the low from March. The moment it reclaims 68 cents with a 4-hour candle close, I will be longing that. basically playing this range. So from 68 cents, then going to target back to $1.25. If we go higher, I'm in from a good position. Or we might just nuke lower, and it's not crazy to think that we will get all the way back down to 37.6. And honestly, this is also just on top of my head. This reminds me of a reaccumulation pattern, like a Wyckoff reaccumulation pattern, where they make a low, and then at some point in the future, you're gonna see, and nobody's gonna want to buy there, but I will. So if we get below 3776, I think a lot of shorts are going to come in the market, and they're going to get trapped at that point. And the moment we can get back and close back above it, maybe on a daily time frame, and those are things that I will go heavy on. Like, I will risk on that and just put my stop loss on the low and then play from these levels. Or if we're going to reverse from here, I will first want to see us get back above 126 before I believe that there is more sustained up movement possible. So basically 3 scenarios for me here. Either I'm going to let it run and see if it can get back above 126, which is the high from January 2023. That's a clear resistance level. That is resistance here. We got above it here. It turns into support here. And now we're below it, and it is back into resistance. So if we can get above it, test that into support, I will be looking for a long there to play it up, back to the high and then higher. Or we simply grind down lower, then I'm only interested at 68 cents after getting the stop losses out below this low from March.
Right.
First 4-hour candle close back above the level becomes my trigger to long it back up with a stop loss slightly under the low that they make. And if this turns into resistance, I will be preparing for this scenario at 37.6, where this becomes a spring point in the market and where everybody is bearish, but just to get all the stop losses out, people still long that will get driven out of the market if price gets back to this low and below it. So look for a move below. Don't instantly buy, but the moment we reclaim that level with daily candle closes back above 37.6, I will be absolutely bidding that hard for a move back to 68 cents and then way higher from there. If we lose all of these levels and all of that turns into resistance, then I'll reassess, of course, and I'll look at lower levels. But for now, this is absolutely, like, this is the kind of thing that I think, yeah, this is on my watch list for gems. Like, I like it a lot.
I've been doing all this calculating. When you first started looking at the chart, you said, I can see this going to $5 to $10. I said, well, there's 500% to 1,000% gains. Then it dropped down to 40 cents. And you said, I would buy down here. Well, it's still going to go to $5 to $10. So now we're looking at 1,200% gains to 2,400% gains. And it's like, that's a hot penny stock. That sucker's got potential.
Exactly. I could show you just one very interesting like reaccumulation scheme, but I probably think that you have another ticker to go over, so I don't want to keep you here. But I could show you.
Actually, the last ticker we got, let me make a clear look over here. We looked at a couple weeks ago. Let me see here. SFLM. Yeah, I would love to talk about SFLM. I'm invested in it. I can't find any real catalysts. We're actually not going to have time for that one, probably. No, if you have something to tell us, because that's really what I want this show to be about. I want people to find a stock that is potentially inviting and how to play it, what to look for. Without a plan, you're going to mess up. You got to have a plan.
Right. Let me see if I can get it here. I got it on looking. I'm going to copy this thing on
I hope you guys don't mind. I know we're looking at your tickers, but honestly, this is what the show is about. Find us a hot stock that we can all cash in on. And if we all know where we're playing, we can play together. Isn't that fun? I'm always trading alone.
So I'm going to put this here on my chart real quick and make it bigger. Is that visible? Accumulation schematic 2,
I can see
Wyckoff
that
events and phases, right? Basically, it comes with a lot of abbreviations, which we won't go over. We'll keep it very simple. The way I see it, right? Right here, phase A is a steep downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. Ultimately, you make a low, and they call it SC, and that stands for selling climax. So to me, that low there that I've marked out at, what is it here? Like that low at 37.6. Well, to me, that is that SC point. And so what was I talking about? Like the highest, like, and really the best risk reward in the future right? Everybody gets bullish here in this first phase A, and then in phase B, they make a higher high, but ultimately it retraces back down to the low and it holds that. And then you get a clear range play, and this is your range low. So it's very, very obvious to me that this is the move here that I would want to be a part of for Bitfarm. And I will keep updated on that. This is amazing information. So, just placing lines on what I see are these levels. So, right, this is an important resistance. So, this would become this high here, right? The way that we've made that high here, right here, that would then be this. And now we're getting back below where? Below this point. So that is the AR. So it makes sense to look at a possible scenario where we are in some kind of accumulation schematic where we're going to downtrend very hard here, possible. But pay attention very closely to the first low that is made, because that could become that spring point here. So wait for price, gets below it, gets back above it. To me, that is a max conviction bid. And I would even say that I only need to take 3 of these plays a year to do well on this specific thing. Like, that is high conviction for me. But I do need to see this play out exactly as is. But for me, it's very, 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 very clear that this could become it. And then what would we have in the future, right? And I don't want to draw it out too
It does
long.
look textbook to me. It really does. It looks like they're copied.
So we bring it down to the range low once more, becomes a spring point. Then we rally back into this resistance that comes from here, which is the AR point. Maybe we come back down. All of that to me is accumulation, and then we move over, right? Another phase, and then they call it phase C. And eventually you're gonna get back above, and that's why I said 125 is so important. That is the high that is made in January of this year. That is ultimately the level where we will get back above. And if I see some kind of bull flag pattern here, once again, I will be absolutely max bidding that, because my expectation is that phase E will then come. And where does phase E go? Back to where phase A basically was making lower highs in the downtrend. So there is exponential movement up possible for this. So I would be looking at long-term targets myself of 425. That would be a huge take profit area, because that's one of those lower highs in the downtrend that in phase E you get back to them, and that becomes resistance. So you're really truly looking, if we get lucky and if this is textbook and if we're early, and so massive shout out to whoever brought this to our attention, because this could be money, right? Where we still need to come back down to that range low, and we get that play all the way back to 425, high conviction. There's our 1000%, or no leverage needed. So absolutely, this is, I 100% stand by this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I like the enthusiasm. I like the charting. This is why I like bringing on people that chart differently than me. I learn so much. And today we got a plan. I thank you for that, Jay. I'm sure everybody thanks you for that. And who was it who brought us this? This was somebody brought it. Chris Vaughn. Yeah, I'm going to go to your movies twice as often now, buddy.
That is epic. Yeah.
Well, I see we are just about at 5 o'clock. The 2 tickers we didn't get to, AVTX, we did look at. I just got done looking. There is no new news. There is no new filings. And you can see the chart. So we're not going to dive into that. Sorry. SFLM. I'm invested in that. She has been growing. I think she was at that 0021. She's gone to 0023, 5, 7. She's been doing good. I need it. I mean, I think I'm at 1 cent or 2 cents on that one. She had news come out today. Not news. She filed her last filing. She's pink limited. She was defaulting on her filings. What she needed was an attorney letter to go with her annual filing. She just filed that today. So FLM should be getting off the pink limited and back onto pink. That's what I believe the catalyst is right now. But the truth is, she's been running, right, for the last couple of days. I wouldn't call it running, but she's been pushing for the last couple of days without any catalyst. Today, she got a bit of a catalyst. And I think that's all we got here. By golly, I think I got all the stocks today. Well, Jay, I appreciate you stepping in so quickly at the last minute for Taylor. I'm sure she appreciates it too. I hope
it's my pleasure.
Yeah, I was hoping never to have anything bad happen, but it seems the only time we ever get a guest in here is when something bad happens. I need to I need to find a way to schedule a guest like once every 2 months or something. Just bring somebody in, give Taylor a break, let her have a day off and bring someone in. So we thank you for being here. We thank you,
It's my
folks,
pleasure.
for being here. We're here every Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we're here for you. I will look at the stocks you want us to, but I'm honestly hoping you're going to bring us some hot stocks. Just bring us the chart. If you don't know anything else, but you found a chart that looks interesting, bring it on. Let's see what we can find together. We'll see you next week. See you, folks.
Bye-bye. Thank you.